Throughout the world, different cultures have their own epic legends of wars and heroes. Wars started and fought over titles, riches, and even a woman's hand. From the legends of ancient Ireland is a tale of a great war that costs the lives of thousands. A war that began over a bull. While that might seem an odd thing to go to war over, it might make more sense for you to know that this bull represented wealth and status to those that coveted it, in a legend known as Táin Cúailnge, or in English, the Cattle Raid of Cooley. Long ago in ancient Ireland, when the island was divided into its 4 provinces, each province was ruled over by a king and queen, and then above them all was the High King of Ireland. At the start of this tale, the province of Connacht is ruled over by Queen Meabh, who was also the daughter of the High King. She had recently married her 4th husband, Ailill, with whom she had already been sleeping with while in her 3rd marriage. When her previous husband found out, he challenged Ailill to single combat and lost. Maeve then married Ailill, and he became the new king of Connacht. One night, Ailill said to Maeve that even though her father was the High King, she was much better off now than before she married him. Maeve was offended that Ailill considered himself wealthier than she, and she called the servants and commanded them to gather and count all of their possessions to see who was the wealthier of the two. Jewelry, clothes, gold, livestock, everything of value each had was counted and compared, and through the whole process, they remained equal. Until, at the end, it was discovered that Ailill possessed one thing Maeve did not: a large white-horned bull called Finnbhennach. Maeve was enraged. Their wealth equated to their status, and if he had more than her, this placed her below him, and she could not accept that. She asked her messenger if there was another bull in Ireland that could equal the strength of her husband's bull. He replied he was aware of a bull in Ulster that might even be stronger than Finnbhennach. It was called Cúailnge, the brown bull of Cooley, and belonged to Dara of Cooley. Maeve sent her messenger to Ulster to meet with Dara, requesting a loan of the bull for but 1 year. In exchange, she would offer him 50 cows, land in Connacht, and her as an ally, should he ever need it. Dara accepted and held a great feast for Maeve's messengers before they left. However, during the feast, he overheard the messengers say that had Dara not accepted the deal, Maeve would have taken the bull by force instead. Insulted by this, he broke their deal and sent them back to Connacht without the bull. Maeve was never one to fear bloodshed to get what she desired. She would have the bull, and now also desired to conquer Ulster also. She assembled her and her husband's armies and marched towards Ulster. Her timing in all this was well planned, for she knew that if she were to attack Ulster, this was the best time to do so, as the time of Macha's curse approached. This was a curse placed on all the men of Ulster by the goddess Macha that would leave them unable to fight for a number of days each year. All the men of Ulster save for one, Chulainn, who was unaffected by the curse, as he was half god, half mortal. While he was only 17 years old at the time, he was already an accomplished and skilled warrior. Maeve's army arrived in Ulster, and Chulainn challenged them alone. Maeve sent wave after wave to slay this lone warrior, yet to her horror, they could not lay a scratch on him. He held them off for a number of days, killing hundreds of Maeve's men each day, and he never seemed to tire or slow. Eventually, Maeve attempted to barter with Chulainn. She offered him gold, land, even women, to get him to fight for her instead, but he refused. Maeve then called for the greatest warrior in her army to challenge Chulainn to single combat. That man was Ferdia, but up till now he refused to fight, for Ferdia knew Cuchulainn, because they had grown up together as foster brothers, and he had no desire to fight him. Maeve ordered him to the battlefield, but he refused. She promised him riches and her own daughter's hand in marriage, but still he refused to fight his brother. She then lied to him, saying Cuchulainn had called him a coward who was afraid to fight and would rather hide. Ferdia, thinking this was true, would not allow his honour be tarnished by rumours of cowardice, and took up arms and raced to the battlefield. The fight between the two champions was said to be one of the fiercest single combat fights to ever take place. Both had been trained by the same person, Scahach. Both knew each other's fighting technique, and neither could gain the upper hand. They fought for 3 days, and agreed to only fight during daylight, and they would rest at night. It is said that they offered assistance to each other during the night, with food and drink, and even herbs to tend each other's wounds, so that they would both be well rested to fight at full strength the following morning. On their 4th day of fighting, they faced each other in the middle of a shallow river. Their swords clashed loudly, ringing like thunder across the land. When suddenly, to Cuchulainn's surprise, Ferdia's sword found a way through his armour and pierced his chest. While not a fatal wound, Cuchulainn knew the next strike would be if he did not act quickly. Till now, he had one weapon he refused to use on his friend unless he had no choice but to use it. The Gaeabolg, a magical spear that never fails to impale a target, and when it does, sends hundreds of barbs shooting through the target's body, ripping them apart from the inside. Cuchulainn thrust the Gaeabolg into Ferdia, who fell to the ground instantly. Cuchulainn picked up his friend and held him in his arms as he took his final breath, and the river turned red with Ferdia's blood. By this time, the Knights of Ulster had finally recovered from the curse and took to the battlefield. With her greatest champion now defeated, and her army now outmatched, Maeve retreated back to Connacht. However, while she may have failed to conquer Ulster, her men did manage to steal the brown bull of Cooley during the fighting. When she returned to her kingdom, she placed the brown bull in the same field as her husband's white bull. The white bull, thinking its territory was being threatened, charged at the brown bull. Both bulls fought with the same fierceness that Cuchulainn and Ferdia displayed previously. They fought all day and into the night, until, with the breaking of the dawn the next day, the brown bull impaled the white bull with one of its horns. The brown bull then escaped from Maeve's fields, charging for 2 days around Ireland, dropping the innards of the white bull as it travelled, until finally it returned to Ulster and died itself. Maeve later made peace with Ulster. However, she bared a great grudge for Cuchulainn for how he embarrassed her army on his own. Years later, she would plot revenge. That legend I have told previously in my video, The Death of Cuchulainn.